We're beginning our heart weaving by folding our paper in half like a book. From that crease side, not the side that opens up, we're going to draw half of our heart. So I'm going to go from the crease down a little bit, and I'm going to start a line that angles up towards the top of the paper, coming close to this corner, rounding almost to the other side of the paper before I start to angle down towards the tip of the crease. From there, we're gonna cut right on our heart line. Before you cut, have a teacher check your work so that we don't have any broken hearts. Once you cut your heart out, these scraps can get recycled and you can peek and look at your heart. I'm gonna close this back up. I'm gonna put the crease down towards the bottom of my paper or table spot by my belly. From here, I'm going to draw the perimeter of that garden shape we talked about. So I am not touching the inside tip of the heart. I'm coming down a little bit on that fold line. I'm going to draw a line that comes straight out towards the curve, over and down. This line can only touch the crease side. It can't touch anywhere around the edge. In this shape, we're going to try to get about 6 lines. So this is like those rows of crops we talked about in a garden. We've got corn and beans and tomatoes. That's 4, 5. I didn't quite fit 6. I got 5 in there. That's pretty good. I was checking that these are about a finger space. If you have littler fingers, maybe 2 finger spaces. In total, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. If you have 7 or 8 or 9, that's a good number. Before you cut, have a teacher check your work. We're gonna cut right on those lines. We are not rounding and cutting out that rectangle. This is our line so we know where to stop. And I stop. It's kind of like a fringe cut. If you can remember doing those when you were younger. After we have our fringe cut done, we're going to open it up, and this is where we get that loom to weave in. So you might remember weaving patterns are up, down, or over, under. It doesn't matter how you start, but I'm going to put a paper at the top of this first spot, which means I have to pick up the next to get it under. I've got on top, pick it up to get it under. It's a 2-hand job, right? On top, under, on top, under. I'm going to slide that up so that I have some hanging at the top and the bottom. The second strip of paper is where it gets a little trickier. They cannot start on top. They have to start opposite. So my green one is going to go under so I can't see it. And then I'm going to slide it up and I start to see that checkerboard pattern happening. When I say it's a 2-handed job, both of my hands are working. One's just not hanging out. I have to use my left hand to kind of pick those pieces up. My left hand is doing that work. I slide it up. From here, it's a pattern. I have it on top. I have it under. My next one has to start on top, under, on top, under, on top, under, on top. When you are finished, if you can pretend I've weaved all the way across and I can't fit any more pieces, that's when we do our gluing. So no gluing till the very end. Before I glue, I want to make sure I've put these to as close together as possible. I'm kind of sliding them with my fingertips so that our weaving is nice and tight. So this is when I glue, when all my work is done. I have to lift up every little tab and put a dot of glue at the bottom, at the top, and I'd even have to flip it over and do that on the back side. Notice that my back side is where I see my pencil lines. You might not think that's a big deal, but if you're using papers that are painted or have a design, they might not be double-sided. So when I'm weaving these fancy papers, I want to make sure I don't see those pencil lines. If I'm weaving it this way, that's when my work isn't going to look nice and neat. Options when you're all done gluing. If you want to leave your heart weaving as is, you can. If you don't like the way those little tabs look, you can trim them off if you prefer a little neater looking weaving. If you want to use paper scraps and make designs or words or little hearts on the edges, those are all choices that you can see examples of on the smartboard. Finished projects will go in the drawing rack.